Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Onset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anybody, everybody that might like it too. Let me see. Please stick around to the end of the video because I have some great comments from previous videos that I'm going to read. And if you would like to get a reading done, if you would like to contact me, all of my information is underneath this video. Okay? All right, so now we're going to take a look at today's questions. Today we're going to do, what would an Aquarius do? I have 4 questions, maybe, I think it's 4, and I'm going to tell you in my normal fashion what an Aquarius might do in a situation like this. Okay? So let me read the first one. What would an Aquarius do if they came home and found their lover in bed with another person? Now, thank you guys for sending me these questions. I've held on to them for about 2 months now. But and if you have any more questions for what would an Aquarius do, please send it. So, what would an Aquarius do? It depends on the situation. I'm going to be honest with you. Because if I came home and found my lover in bed with another person, I'm assuming we're in a monogamous relationship because I'm monogamous. And I'm assuming I didn't know they were sleeping with this other person. Now, young me, crazy young me, would have kicked the door in and try to fight them both. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would kick the door in, start throwing shit off my dresser at them. I would snap. Young me would go off. But young me was more prone to violence, okay? Old me would walk in, tell them to put on their clothes, and get out. Because I don't know, I'm assuming it's my place because I don't live with other people. So I'm assuming this person's living with me. So I would just tell them to get their shit and get the fuck out. Okay? I'm not fighting. Nah, you can have her. One thing about me, if you gotta choose, and this is like, with a lover or with a situation with a friend, if you gotta choose between somebody else and me, choose them. Don't do that. Go with that person. Obviously, that's where you need to be. So I would just ask them both to get their shit and leave. And I would just detach and disengage from the relationship. I would be devastated though, because betrayal really does cut me deep, because the people who betray you are always the people that are close to you. People that don't know you can't really betray you. You know what I'm saying? It's the ones you love that do you dirty. So if I cared about somebody that much to the point where I left them alone and with my personal belongings and came home and they were in bed with another person, I would just cut them off. I'm done. I'm not gonna hoop and holler. I'm not gonna fight you. You made it pretty clear where your level of respect is for me and for this relationship. So you and that person need to go make a go of it. And I don't want to talk. Don't be texting me, begging, calling, none of that. I'm probably gonna block them, knowing me, on everything, and just move on. Because it's no reason for that. You can tell a person the truth. You can say, I want to bring another person in the bedroom, or you can say, I'm not sexually satisfied. You can say what the problem is, or I'm a nymphomaniac, or I got a problem. Whatever. Say, communicate what the problem is. And so you felt the need to come in my home, and bring your lover? Like, that's not going to work. That is not going to work on any stretch of the imagination. I was crying. So if y'all see, like, mascara running, that would be what happened. I did a couple of videos back to back, and one of them made me cry. Number 2, what would an Aquarius do if there was a zombie apocalypse? Well, you gotta understand the thing about Aquarius. Aquarius believe in survival. So if there was a zombie apocalypse, Aquarius would be trying to survive as long as they possibly could. And Aquarius are pretty smart, so we probably could survive for a little while at least. Um, I was talking to somebody once that's an astrologer, and he was telling me that if there was a murder situation, like a murder house or a haunted house, he said, my money is on Aquarius to make it out. So I agree with him. I think that Aquarius are pretty crafty, and I think that in a tragedy, in a crisis like this one, I think that many of us would do our best to survive. And I think that those of us that are really smart would survive pretty long. Because I saw one episode one time of The Walking Dead, and one of the people had basically figured out how to make slaves of the zombies. She had figured out how to, control them basically. And I was like, see, that's something an Aquarius would do. They would figure out how to use, the zombies to their advantage, if at all possible. So Aquarius are always going to do the best to survive as long as they can. We're pretty much, we're going to learn. We're quick learners, so we're going to learn pretty quickly whatever skills we don't have. Because in a zombie apocalypse, you got to realize you're not going to be able to call Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to do stuff like that. You're going to have to pretty much live off the land. So an Aquarius, such as myself, I would go to the library and get a book about survival skills, because at that point, you're thinking most of the world is destroyed, but there are going to be some books left in the library and places like that. So I would find a book on survival skills. I'd find a book on farming. I would get the necessary materials that I needed to survive. I would get some weapons. I would figure out like how, it depends on what universe you're in, the rules of the zombie. So I would figure out the rules of the zombie. Like, is it always awake? Does it go to sleep? Can I shoot it? I gotta shoot it in the heart. Like, how do I get rid of them? And I would be fucking them zombies up. I would be fucking them up, and I would be trying to get food and stealing gas out of cars. I would be bout it. The idea is to survive as long as possible. And most Aquarius I know are survivors. Number 3, what would an Aquarius do if they had 3 wishes? Ooh. Well, most people are going to wish for more wishes. That's an Aquarius thing. An Aquarius, for me, I would wish for an infinite amount of wishes, if that was available. Because in some of the stories, they say you can only have 3, But if it was available, I would wish for unlimited wishes. And then I would just keep making wishes, If I could only have 3 wishes, the first wish is always going to be about wealth. As an Aquarius, my first wish is going to be unlimited financial resources. I want to be a baller shot caller, okay? I want to have so much money I can bless other people with my money, I can do charities and all kind of stuff. I want unlimited money. So that would be my first wish. I would then wish for health, the health of me and everybody in my family. If I could, if I couldn't, I would just, wish on myself. So I would wish to be healthy, and I would wish, number 3, to be immortal. I would love to be immortal, guys. I would love that, okay? I love it because there's so many things to see and do and learn. One lifetime is not enough for me. I want to go to multiple places multiple times. I want to spend like a month in New Zealand. I want to spend like a year in Europe, just going from, country to country, I want to spend time at the libraries and learning ancient stuff, and I want to go meet shaman in Peru, and I want to do everything. I want to do all that kind of stuff. And for me, one lifetime is just not enough, you know, to read everything, go everywhere, try everything. I'm going to be old before I've tried everything. I already know that. So it would be wonderful if I could have immortality, like vampires do, you know? And if I could have immortality and not have to drink blood, that would be perfect. Number four, what would an Aquarius do if they were offered a job in a porno movie? Hoa. I mean, some Aquarius would be about it. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Some Aquarius would be about it. They would think it was fun. They would, they'd be with it. I think you'd have to speak their price though. Most Aquarius not gonna do a porno movie for $30. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're, in desperate need of money. But most Aquarius are going to want a decent price for it, and some of them would be about it. I know a lot of Aquarius that would say yes to that. Me personally, it's not. You have to offer me a lot of money. I mean, in porn don't pay that much money, straight up. From what I've heard from other people, I heard it doesn't pay that much. I would want a lot of money, more money than I think they'd be willing to pay me. Okay, I would want $1 million. I want big money for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's immortal. My grandkids are going to see me getting my cheeks clapped. You know what I'm saying? My great grandchildren, my descendants are going to see this. So I want big money for that. Way more than I think they would pay. But yeah, I think a lot of Aquarius would be down with it. And then there's some Aquarius that really don't like to be watched. I'm more of a voyeur than a person that wants to be watched. I'd rather watch, So some Aquarius feel that way. But yeah, I think that there's some that would do it, but you just got to talk the right price, I think everybody has their price. Not to say everybody would do a porn, but I think that most people have their price. And regardless of what it is, most people have a price. It's like, okay, I would do that, but only if I was paid enough money. And then there are some things you couldn't pay me enough to do, So it depends on what it is. But in this case, with it being porn, if you gave me $1 million, I'd do it, So it depends on the Aquarius and it depends on the circumstances. Number 5, the last one. What would an Aquarius do if their least favorite ex was on fire? Damn. Old me would sit there and watch him burn. I'ma tell you, my least favorite ex is a Cancer male that I was entangled with. Old me would have sat there with glee and maybe even some marshmallows and watched them burn. Quite frankly, at this point in my life, I probably call the cops. At this point in my life, if I just came outside and saw him on fire in the middle of the parking lot, I would call the police. I wouldn't go near him or get burnt trying to help, but I would call the fire department. I'm the police. I would call the fire department. I would try to, get somebody to help, that's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and fraud for y'all and be like, oh, I would be so concerned. I wouldn't be really concerned, but it's a person, It's a human being and they're on fire, so I would call the fire department. And to be honest with you, it took me a long time to come to that space. 5 years ago, I would have, and I said young me from 5 years ago, would have stood there like, that's a damn shame. But 5 years now, 45-year-old me would call the fire department, Nobody deserves to suffer like that. Can you imagine what it's like to be burned alive? That's pretty bad. So yeah, I would call the fire department. I wouldn't go see him at the hospital or give no sympathy or nothing like that, but I would make sure that the fire department came and put him out and took him, the ambulance took him, and I would keep it pushing. Like, how you know where I live? I'd move the next day, but yeah, I would definitely call the fire department. All right, now let's take a look at some of these positive comments. Number one is from Cha Cha. Hey, Cha Cha. Cha Cha said, you definitely have a good combination in your birth chart. I can see you've been putting your energy into building your spirituality. This brings wisdom. Some aquas I know, my brother, he would run away from his girl instead of facing the problem, suppressing his feeling, never solving anything. I'm like, dude, problem's still there. Um, I don't think my placements are that great, to be honest with you, because my chart is all fire and air. So it's like a dragon. I think it's some good aspects of it though. Like the air makes you more logical, so that probably helped me come to spirituality because it was the logical thing to do, after doing all the wrong things. But as far as your brother is concerned, that's a very Aquarius thing to do. Run away from problems, ignore problems, suppress feelings. That's so Aquarius. And I hope that he grows out of it. It could just be a maturity thing because it did take me a long time to grow out of it. But I know a lot of Aquarius who are older than me that haven't grown out of it. So I can't make that promise. I can just hope. I can hope along with you, right? Because some of us never grow out of that. It's really sad. Yusef Lopez. Hey, Yusef. Yusef said, I couldn't even consider wanting to plot on people from my childhood that did me wrong at this point in my life. Because I've seen the adults most of them have become, and that person I used to hate is gone. So who exactly am I getting revenge on? I'm actually reaching a point to where I'm slowly forgetting the problems associated with those times, as well as the people who were causing them. That's wonderful. That means that you've healed and you've grown since then. So that's good. That's a very good thing. That's excellent. That's the dream right there. We all want to get to that point where we're not angry about the past. We've forgiven people or let things go from the past. That's wonderful. That shows maturity. That shows growth. That's wonderful. All right, guys, it's time for us to get going. You come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.